Hey guys, I'm back and I'm talking about the latest installment in the Origin series, which is The Brightest Night. That's the third book in the Origin series, which is a spinoff of the Lux series. And I didn't bother pulling up the ebook because the cover is the same. So what Jen did, and I don't know if she's still doing it, but anybody who bought The Brightest Night, whether it was from Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever, if you pre-ordered it, you automatically got a signed copy. Now, I would assume that that is the case until all the signed copies run out. So, you may still be able to get a signed copy on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or indie bookstores. I'm not sure, but you could certainly try it. So, obviously, you know, since it is a signed edition, I did not read this book. I read the ebook. It is, God, this freaking book made me cry. The ending made me cry. And it was just terrible because I also finished The Vampire Diaries yesterday and didn't realize I was finishing it because I didn't know how many episodes there were. I was just kind of, next thing I know, freaking Catherine and Elena there, and I'm like, oh crap, this is the last episode. So I was crying from that, right, from the freaking Vampire Diaries. Like, I'm like, you know, messaging the book talk people, like, I was not emotionally prepared for this. And so I finished that and I'm like, it's okay because I'm going to read my book. Y'all, it was not okay. I was boohooing. Like, I was not sobbing because I have sobbed reading books. I was not sobbing, but I had to blow my nose. Okay. So to me, like, that's in the middle, right? Like, there's like, oh, you know, let me, my tears. And then there's like, and have to blow my nose. And then there's like sobbing, which is the like, you know, I had to blow my nose. So obviously, since I love Jennifer Armentrout and I love Lux and I love Origin and I love Luke and I love Evie and I love all of it, it's 5-star. And the main character is Evie and her love interest is Luke. The gang, all our friends are in this book. It starts with this is our review, okay? It starts with a recap of the story so far. And Eaton tells them that Jason Dasher is not dead. And that the Trojans were the answer to the Luxon invasion. And then, so throughout the story, Evie starts to evolve and get new powers. And y'all, oh, the character growth in this freaking story, like Evie from The Darkest Star to Evie in The Brightest Night, is just, it's everything. It's awesome. Okay. And we meet some new characters, and there's some new betrayals from people you don't expect. And some old characters come back. Jennifer Armentrout. Do you see this? She know why I'm making this face. She know. I'm just kidding, Jen. I love you. But you know why I'm making that face. Okay. Evie starts working on the source and learning things. And she gets some memories back. And then Luke and Evie get closer. Their relationship changes. Then Daedalus tries to like infiltrate the community. And a rescue mission goes south. And it ends on a giant WTF. Yes. I cannot say that it is a cliffhanger because Kaylee will have my hind parts in a sling. Because we all know Kaylee from KBooks says, if it ain't Opal, it ain't a cliffhanger. And really, it's not because, I mean, it kind of, I mean, it's not literally the character on the cliff and you don't know if they're going to live or die. But it does end on a giant WTF. So that is it for the review. It's beautiful. Go read it. It's wonderful. Maybe you'll get a signed copy. I don't know. So now it's time for the recap or the spoilers. Spoilers. Okay. All right. So I told you the book does this really beautiful, very thorough kind of recap of the story up until this point. So then they're with General Eaton, which is where it left off at, and he tells them that Dasher's alive, that Sylvia healed him, and that he may even be mutated, but nobody knows. And we don't even find out by the end of the book. Like, you finish the book and you still don't know where Dasher is and if he's mutated, okay? So, like I said, the Trojans were Dasher's solution to the Luxon invasion. Eaton tells them that Luke's code name within Daedalus was the Darkest Star, and Evie's code name was the Burning Shadow, and that together they are the Brightest Night. But he doesn't know what that means. Nobody knows what that means. They just know that he's called this and she's called that, and together they're called this. You find out why. So, Evie has a nightmare about Dasher. And when Luke wakes up, Evie is kind of like this freaking source field, light bulb, celestial goddess who is hell-bent on smiting the world. Like, she is trying to calm down, but she can't because she's just in that state of anxiety. And Luke is trying to calm her down, because if she lets go, if the source explodes from her, like, basically she's going to blow everybody up. So Luke is trying to talk her down. She's trying to calm herself down. It's not working. So she has this idea, like, I'm just going to take the source into myself. And Luke's like, no, it'll kill you. And she's like, well, that's better than killing everybody here. But Luke ain't about to live without Evie. So Luke takes the source from her into himself. And nobody knew that he could do that. Luke is the only one who knew that he could do that. Is he though? Anyway, he takes the source in himself and becomes like this kind of god of light. And it's very cold and not like himself. And it kind of freaks Evie out a little bit. But he's able to like kind of turn back into himself. So the next day, Zoe takes Evie to kind of meet everybody and meets the unofficial mayor, Sakia. So I'm clapping because it tickles me so much. Okay. There is this girl, and she is like the sweetest, like most beautiful, like her skin is freaking gorgeous. Anyway, this girl, Sakia, is a real person who is in Jaylanders, and she won some kind of contest to have her name in the book. And so Sakia, who is awesome, and she's in the book talk groups, is the mayor of freaking Houston. Good job, Sakia. Okay. So Evie finds so when she comes back from like kind of meeting everybody, she's by herself. Luke is gone handling alien business. And there's this kid in her kitchen stealing food. And his name is Nate. And she tells him, like, look, I'll help you. I'll leave food for you. And she kind of does throughout the story. She'll just leave a bag of food outside for Nate. So then Evie falls asleep out in the yard holding a jar of peanut butter. And Luke finds her and says, this is a quote from Luke. I got so tickled when he said this. He said, I feel like I need to be a better boyfriend if you're turning to peanut butter for support. So Luke and Grayson start training Evie to use the source, because they're thinking, you know, if you were comfortable with it and knew how to use it, we would have never had the incident that we had the other night. And so the only way for you to get comfortable is for you to use it. So they start training her to use the source. Cat goes into labor. Yes, that cat from Lux. Damon's cat. Hello, kitten. So while they're waiting, Luke is in with Damon and Katie. Because, and this comes out later in the book, but apparently baby Adam, Cat's baby, is breached. And Luke has to do something, like he has to use his abilities to like keep the baby calm because the baby's in distress. And whatever Luke does, Luke somehow saves Cat and the baby's lives, which also saves Damon's lives because they're linked. Damon's life, whatever. Anyway, while Evie and Grayson are outside waiting, Grayson is being like a complete jerk face. Like, I mean, just nasty. Grayson just nasty, okay? He goes past curmudgeon to like nasty. And she passes out. And while she's passed out, she dreams, but really it's memories. And so she has these memories of her killing her birth father because he was going to abuse her and then sell her to Jason Dasher. And she ran, after she killed her dad, she ran away, and Daedalus sent some kid to tell her, oh, if you go see these people at this club, they'll help you. And so that's how Daedalus sent her to Paris and to Luke. And so when she wakes up, Luke is holding her, and apparently she's been passed out for like 4 days, but Luke is holding her, and this is a quote from Evie. I might cry again. Okay. This is a quote from Evie. My soul knew the feel and weight of him, the taste and scent of his skin, because it always knew even when I didn't. No. So she's like alert but not awake. So she can't move. And like she's thinking to herself, what if I'm not Nadia or Evie? What if I'm just nobody? And so Luke says, because he can read her thoughts sometimes also. This is a quote from Luke. No matter how you come back to me as Evie or as Nadia or someone else, I'll still love you like I do now, like I did yesterday and the day before, and that'll be enough. She asks about Kat. See, I'm starting. She asks about Kat, and Kat and baby Adam are fine. And the doctor comes to check on Evie once Dr. Hemingway, finds out that Evie's okay. And the doctor makes this good point that like literally nobody else has thought about. And I think it's like one of those, you know, you don't think about it because you're like in it, you know, but the doctor's not. She's kind of outside so she can see things with fresh eyes. So the doctor says, you know, you're not like the other Trojans because you got all the serums. They just got the Andromeda serum, but you got all these other serums. Like you got Prometheus serum and the LH11. And so you're not going to be like them and they're not going to be like you. So Evie tells Luke about the dream, and then they take a bath. And Evie ride that boy like she hit the rodeo. So the next day, Luke and Evie go to visit Damon, Kat, and baby Adam. And then later at training, General Eaton tells her, he's like, you know, you need to get over yourself. And at first it sounds like he's just a jerk, but he actually has a really good point. He's like, you know, you keep treating yourself like you're a human and you're not, you know, you haven't been for years. So you need to get over yourself, quit thinking of yourself as Evie and start, you know. He also tells her, like, this is really cool because they're like, so some stuff goes down and they're on their way wherever, and she's riding in the golf cart with the general and he's about to kill them all in the golf cart. And he tells her, he says, one day you'll take back the power of the name that you were born with. So anyway, the reason they're going to this house or whatever, there's a problem with a package. Now, you know, package is what they call the unregistered lux, and that they've been moving to Houston and Chicago and these other cities to try and keep them safe from the art officers, the government, basically. And so when they get there to the house, Luke and the doctor are trying to save this guy, Spencer. It is not going well because, like, I mean, he's got, like, tears in his aorta. And that's not, like, you would literally have to be open on the operating table for them to save you, okay? So, and Aram, Hunter, yes, we've met Hunter before in the Lux series, shows up and threatens to kill Evie. And his girlfriend, like, has a gun, is fixing to pull a gun on Evie. And Luke has to, like, talk them down. Come to find out, a Trojan killed Hunter's brother, Lore, I think. I can't remember his name. And that's why they had such a strong reaction to Evie, because they don't realize that Evie's different. They just know that they recognize Evie as the same thing that killed his brother. So Evie keeps getting like this weird sensation the whole time all this is going on. And then these girls show up, and one of them is a Trojan, and they were part of the package. Okay, so Evie uses her powers to push everyone out of the house, and the girl pulls out a freaking key fob and goes to push it to activate Evie, but Evie, like, you know, blinks right in front of her and breaks her arm, and then grabs the key fob and, like, turns it into dust. And the girl runs, and Evie chases her and ends up cornering her in this abandoned house. And the girl just, like, stops fighting. And you think, because Evie's, like, the sweet little girl, right? You think Evie's going to be like, oh, you know, Well, since you gave up. But no, Evie kills her. And I don't mean just like kills her. I mean obliterates her. There is nothing left of the girl or the house but freaking ashes blowing in the wind. Yeah. Yeah. And that's not all. Freaking, I think the girl had tried to attack Luke and Grayson and somebody else. And so she had like sucked them down in the ground somehow to protect them from the girl. So after, like, the house is gone, freaking Ashley shows up, which is Dawson and Beth's daughter, and is talking to her, and she always calls her Nadia. She won't call her Evie, even though she never met her. She always calls her Nadia. So, anyway, while they're talking, some random dude shows up and shoots Evie because he thought she was the intruder, that she was the Trojan girl. So, Luke kills that guy because he's Luke, and you were not going to shoot Evie and like get off with a slap on the hand. That's no. So the next day there's a community meeting about Evie and Luke, because they're like, you know, Evie's a threat. Daedalus is going to come looking for her, or Luke just killed somebody. So Damon and Kat, Dawson and Beth, Hunter, Grayson, and Zoe all like take up for Evie and defend Evie and threaten to leave. Like, if you kick Evie out, we're going to, because where they go, we go. And Kat, oh my God, Kat gives this like freaking epic speech, and she is like, you know, is this the kind of world that we want to raise, you know, our children in? Is this the kind of world, you know, we're trying to build a better world, and yet you want to shut somebody out simply because they're different? And isn't that what the humans did to the Luxon? And it is just like, oh, I'm just like Kat for president, like Kat for 2024. I'm just saying. And so Sakia lets Evie stay. Yay, Sakia! And on the way home, they see Hunter, and they go into Hunter's house, and he explains that the reason Evie passed out is because, yes, she's part Luxon, but she's also part Aram, and Aram have to feed. And if they don't feed, they will basically like pass out until they sleep long enough to regenerate the source, which is why she was passed out for 4 days. So he's like, you either going to have to feed, get some opal, or pass out and sleep for 4 days. So when they get home, Luke is trying to talk Evie into feeding, and she's like, no, she don't want to do it. And he's like, look, like, you know, it's happening, chick. He don't say that. That's kind of... So, anyway, so she feeds off of him, and when she does, she gets his memories. So, apparently, that's when Aram feed off Luxon, they get some of their memories. So, she starts training with Hunter so she can learn some of the Aram abilities as well as the Luxon abilities and the Origin abilities, whatever. Like, Evie's just a freaking warrior. So, Nate comes back and wants rubbing alcohol for somebody that's hurt. And Evie tells him, she's like, you know, that's fine. I'll give you the rubbing alcohol, but I want to go with you, because she's trying to get an idea of how many kids there are, what kind of shape they're in, if they need food, blah, blah, blah. So, he agrees. So they go into the city, they sneak out, go into the city, and they go into this church, and there's a lot of kids, like 20 kids, and they are not in great shape. Like, they are underfed, they're dirty, they're not in good shape. And when she's like, you know, where's your parents? Where's the adults? They're like, oh, they got sick, or they got hurt, or blah, blah, blah. So then some dude named Morton shows up and is like, what are you doing here? And goes to attack her with a bat. And she uses the source to take the bat from him. And he's like, you need to leave. And Nate walks her out. And she tells him, like, look, anytime you guys want to come to the community, we will give you clothes. We'll give you food. Like, you'll be safe there. But she doesn't want to push it, because she knows, like, if she pushes it, like, these kids will scatter. They'll scatter and hide. So, anyway. So she tells them, you know, when you're ready, we're here for you, basically. So when she's sneaking back in, she gets busted by Grayson. Because apparently he was following her the whole entire time, Grayson. So they find out that Heidi and Emery are back. So they head back to like the entry house, which in my mind, there must be like this house that's set up close to the entrance to the community that like kind of serves as like the check-in point, right? When people are coming in. So anyway, they head there, and Heidi and Emery came with 2 dudes, a Luxon and a hybrid. And Grayson just like attacks the hybrid and like jacks him up by his throat. It's Blake. It's Blake. That's why I made that face. Now you know why they made that face when I was like, oh, some of the characters come back. Because freaking Blake, that I thought was dead, that everybody thought was dead, we all thought was dead this whole entire time, freaking Blake shows up at the freaking community. Yes. So, anyway, they put Blake in jail, which is, yeah, that's where he needed to be. And Evie fills Heidi and Emery in on everything. And then Luke and company come back, and Evie and Hunter tell Luke and Damon that Blake is there. Damon immediately leaves to go kill Blake, and Luke is like, no, dude, you can't do that. Like, I need to talk to him. Like, what if he knows stuff? Like, you know, let's think this through. And Damon's like, no, he need to die. And then Luke and Damon start fighting, and freaking Evie has to use the source to break them up. And then Sakia shows up and's like, no, we're not killing Blake, okay? So Luke and Evie actually go and talk to Blake, and he tells them that he saw her at Fort Detrick, which is where her mama was working at. And that is where she was trained at. And that, like, she tried to fight them, like, tried to not comply. But basically, they just kept beating her until, I guess, until she got with the program. And so Luke is, like, thinking about basically after he hears from Blake what was done to Evie, he feels even worse about the fact that he let Kat get taken so that he could get that serum. And he feels like he's a monster. And Evie kind of tells him, you know, I would do the same thing if the situation were reversed. You're not a monster. You know, Damon even said there's nothing he wouldn't do, no one he wouldn't hurt to save Kat. So how does that make you a monster? And I wrote, I might be crying. I was crying. There was no might be. I was crying. And so the next day, they have a council meeting to discuss Blake. And they just keep going round and round in circles because Kat and Damon and Dee and Luke are all like, he needs to die, period. And then the other people are like, but I thought you said we were trying to have a better world and blah, 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 blah. And if you kill Blake, then you kill Chris, which is the Luxon that he's bonded to. Evie's like, you know what? I got to go outside because I can't keep listening to this. So when she goes outside, Nate finds her, and he's like, okay, I talked to the kids and we're all ready. You come meet us at the mall tonight. So Evie goes back in and tells the council, hey, look, I ain't said anything before, but there's a whole bunch of orphaned children who need a place to live and clothes and food. And so the council's like, you know what? Yes, the kids can come stay here. So Damon, Luke, Evie, Damon, Luke, Emery, Zoe, Grayson, and Evie all go to the mall that night to get the kids. So Nate just like hands the kids over, and Evie's just kind of like, now Nate has been very protective of these kids this whole time, so why is he all of a sudden just like, okay, here you go, here's the children, have fun. And so Zoe and Emery go ahead and take the kids back up to the community, and Nate is just acting really strange. And Luke can read his thoughts, but all he can read is the fear that he's afraid for his sister. So they kind of corner him and like tell us what's going on. And so he tells them that Morton took his sister Tabby and told him to bring Evie to him. So about that time, freaking dozens of art officers, which is the alien response team or alien response task force, whatever, show up. Friggin' Luke, Grayson, Evie, and Damon fight them off, okay? They take care of them, and then they head to the park. And Luke sends Damon back to the community to check and make sure that Kat and everybody's okay, because there could be art officers there too, right? So then it's Luke, Evie, and Grayson, I think, heading to the park. So When they get to the park, there's more officers. There's another battle. Then Morton shows up with Nate's sister, and they're like, you know, just let her go. She doesn't have anything to do with this. So he does, which is kind of weird, right? Because if that's your leverage, you just kind of like, here you go, take the kid. So Nate and his sister run off, and it's because I know what's coming. And Morton pulls out a key fob. Yeah. He plans to activate Evie and have her kill everybody. And I mean everybody. Luke, by this time, Damon has shown back up. Because Damon's like, everybody's okay. Do you guys need help? He plans to have her kill Luke, Damon, and Grayson. And then go kill everybody in the community. Man, woman, child. Everybody. He gonna make Evie kill everybody. Okay? Evie is like scared to death because this is her worst nightmare situation, right? Not having control of herself and being like this, you know, freaking smite the world goddess. So she asks him, just let me say goodbye to Luke. And so she and Luke communicate. Is it telepathically? I really need to Google this because this is like the third video and I still don't know how it is that they communicate in their minds. Okay. And so she comes up with this plan. She tells Luke, she says, you take the source for me. And so that way, even if he activates me, I won't be able to hurt anybody because I won't have enough of the source. So he agrees. And he takes the source from her. And everything goes to crap. Morton is taunting them. This is what they wanted. This is what the Brightest Night is. Because Luke turns into, I don't even know, some very cold, detached monster god of light. Okay? They wanted him to feed off of her because they wanted him to become the ultimate weapon. And so he tells Luke to kill everyone but Evie. And Luke disintegrates Morton. Evie uses what she has left of the source to push Damon and Grayson back to the community to try and protect them from Luke. Luke, then she's like trying to talk to him, like she's trying to reach him. She's telling him that she loves him. She's trying to communicate in her mind, like she's trying to reach him. And then he like puts his hand on her cheek and it's almost like this freaking mushroom cloud of the source. Like she looks around and all the buildings and stuff are destroyed. And he does something to Evie, like something happens in her. Like she says she feels like a door opens and she's filled with light or something. He does something to Evie. And then he tells her, don't ever come look for him or he'll take everything from her. And he leaves. But now, Evie remembers everything that's ever happened. Everything that happened as Nadia. Everything. And then, that's the end. Yes! Do you see why I was like freaking a WTF ending? Like, like Luke is like off on some like warrior god rampage. And freaking Evie's got all her memories back, but Luke is gone. And like, we don't even know if everybody in the community is okay because everything that was around them is destroyed. So we don't even know if the people in the community are okay. It's just like, oh my God. Did you see why I was crying? Like, I was crying. I was like, woohoo, Mama Evie knows now. She knows. So, we did get, I mean, it's like, I swear to God, like, my friend Abby, whenever we talk about this, I'm like, freaking Jennifer Armentrout is like a freaking Sour Patch Kid. Because first she's sour, she breaks your heart, and then she's sweet. She puts it back together. Jennifer Armentrout's a Sour Patch Kid. So, after that big giant WTF, the end, we get a bonus scene of Damon watching Kat sleep while he's holding baby Adam so Kat can sleep. Ooh, because he's the perfect husband, y'all. And I wrote, ovaries go boom. So that is it for the Brightest Night. And I'll see you guys next time I'll be starting a reread of the Covenant series for the book talk that's coming up in December. If you're interested, join Jaylanders and then just search inside Jaylanders for the Covenant book talk. I believe it's December 27th. So thanks. Hope you guys have a great one.